Alright, this is chapter 3 study guide video. If you need to fast forward the video at any time to go to the problems that you need more help on, do that, but we'll go through each of these very quickly. If I'm looking right here, 1 and 3, those are a linear pair. You could say that they are a linear pair. Linear pair are also supplementary. So either one of those would be acceptable, or they're also adjacent. But remember, when angles are adjacent and supplementary, it means that they are a linear pair. 2 and 7, they're on the outside, they're on opposite sides, alternate exterior angles. 5 and 8 are, again, you can abbreviate, they have here. 5 and 8, they're across from each other right there, and we call those vertical angles. Vertical angles. 3 and 6, they're on the inside, and they're on opposite sides, alternate interior angles. 4 and 6 that we have right here, they're on the inside, they're on the same side of the transversal, they are same side interior. And last one, 1 and 5, remember this is the one that we're seated at a table that we have right here. If you're at the top left, you're in the same spot. The one that students struggle with the most is this one, which is they are corresponding angles. So make sure for the test that you know each of these, and you know not only what they are, but you know their relationship. Like alternate interior angles are congruent. Same side interior angles are supplementary. You got to know the relationship and the names. Alright, next one. So we are here, we're told that these lines are parallel and we're trying to solve. We see that this angle right here and this angle, they are alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles are congruent. So I'm going to get 2x plus 3 equals, it's a plus sign, equals 35. I subtract 3 to both sides, and that's going to give me, this is going to give me 32, which means that x right here is going to equal 16. Alright, next problem that I'm looking at is we're solving for x and we're solving for y. So if I look, here is this one and here is this one. Those are corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are congruent. So I'm going to get 4x minus 5 equals 47, which add 5 to both sides is going to equal 52. 52 divided by 4 is going to give me x equals 13. Okay, so if I'm trying to figure out y, we could do this a couple different ways. We could find this angle, but I see, well, these two right here, like what we said before, those are vertical angles. Vertical angles are always congruent, so it's y minus 2 equals 47, which means that right here, add y to both sides, y equals 49. So there's my answer right there for those. On the next ones, it says find the value of x so that the lines can be parallel. Well, in order for these to be parallel, I need that, like alternate interior angles, for instance, would be congruent. So I need these to be congruent. These two next to each other would be supplementary because they make a straight line. So if that's 136, this one needs to be 136. And both of these angles, this one and this one right here, make a straight line. So for x, I have 3x minus 2 plus 136 equals 180. They are supplementary, which means that 3x plus 134 equals 180, which is going to give me 3x equals 134 divided by 180 minus 180 minus 134 is going to give me 46. And 46 divided by 3, this does not come out evenly. Looks like it's 15.3 repeating. Not great. Not great on that one. But if we're looking at the next one, it wants to know what is the value of x. I don't even see an x in this problem. So maybe mine, let's see if I erase this. Not seeing an x in this problem that we have right here. Maybe I'm missing something. I think we're missing something, but if I was trying to figure out this angle, P and Q, I would need to know something like that. These two were congruent that you have right here, or These are 27. I don't know where that x is on this one. So maybe it just didn't show up or something like that. I don't know. We'll keep going though. 11 right here. If I'm solving these, so the two lines are parallel. I'll fill these in. I'd probably do your work off to the side, but I'm going to put it over the angle so you can see what I'm working with. But the first one says 5x minus 7 is what angle 1 is. And angle 2 is x plus 17. Find angle 6. Alright, so these two are corresponding. Corresponding are always congruent. So I'm going to get 5x minus 7 equals x plus 17, which is going to give me 4x equals 24 that we have right here, which means that x equals 6. So if I plug a 6 back into x plus 17, which is going to give me that this angle right here is going to equal 23. And if I'm looking, 2 right here and 6 right here are on the inside. Alternate interior angles are always congruent. So that means that 6 has to equal 23 degrees as well. Alright, so again, make sure you have this off to the side. I'm going to erase these at your time. Write it down. Next one. Number 1 you have right here is 5x plus 10, and angle 4 is 45 that we have right here. So if I'm thinking, well, if this is 5x plus 10, and these are vertical angles, 5x plus 10, these right here are vertical angles. 4 and 6 are same side interior, which means that I need to add them together and set them equal to 180 degrees, which is going to give me 5x plus 55 equals 180. I take 180 minus 55 equals 125 divided by 5, which means that right here x is going to equal 25. And on 2, that's all it wanted though. It just wanted what x was. Alright, make sure you have that work. Next one, 13 says 6 is 2x plus 8. 2x plus 8. 4 is x plus 22. Find angle 8. Again, these are same side interior, which means that they add together plus 8 plus x plus 22. They add together to equal 180 degrees. Which is going to give me 3x plus 30 equals 180. 3x equals 150. Divide both sides, and x is going to equal 50. And it wants to know what is angle 8. So if we put in a 50, say we put it into this one, which is going to be 2 times 50 plus 8, which is going to be 100 plus 8, which is 108. And again, we know that 6 and 8 are corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are always congruent. So that's 108. Next one, have that work down. Next one, number 1 is 130. This is 130 degrees. 8 right here is 4x minus 2. Alternate exterior angles are always congruent that we have right here. So 4x equals 132. 132 divided by 4 means that x is going to equal 33. So x is 33. Angle 7 right here, how many degrees is that going to be? Well, we just look at this. If 1 is 130 and these have to add up to 180 degrees, it means that this one needs to be 50 degrees. Okay? Alright. Last one on this page, it looks like, I'm just going to fill this in here, but you're going to write these all down here. But angle 3 is 72, so we need to find the rest. Well, again, let's do it from here. These are vertical angles. Vertical angles are always congruent. 3 and 5 are corresponding. Corresponding angles are always congruent. And 3 and 7 are alternate exterior angles, which those are always congruent. So I have those that we have right here. My next one is, let's say this one, 8 is, this is going to be 108 because these make a straight line, which they have to add up to 180. 2 and 8 are vertical angles, which are congruent. 6 and 8 right here are corresponding angles, which are always congruent. And 1 and 8 are alternate exterior angles, which are also always congruent. Alright, so you're definitely going to need to know some of these formulas for the test. First one is slope. You're going to need to know y2 minus y1 equals x2 minus x1 that we have over here. I always like to do this, x1, y1, x2, y2, so I know that I'm plugging them in the right spot. 6 minus a negative 4 over negative 2 minus a negative 3. Careful with these double negatives, because now they become a positive that you have right here, which is going to give me 10 over negative 2 plus 1 is negative 2 plus 3 is positive 1. So I get the slope is 10. Okay. Next one, we're doing the same exact thing. The same exact thing that we have right here. x1, y1, x2, y2. Again, I'd write my equation because I don't want to plug things in the wrong spot. So I'm going to get 8 minus negative 8 over negative 3 minus 7, which is going to give me double negatives become a positive, which is going to give me 16 over negative 10. Can simplify, goes a 2 in a both, which is going to give me negative 8 over 5. And again, we can keep it as an improper fraction. We like slope like that because remember our rise over run. Alright, got it. Next one, write an equation of the line with the slope of that and the y-intercept. So you got to know the equation. Y equals mx plus b. Algebra, yes. So we get y equals slope is negative 4. That's where the m goes right here. That's the slope. Y-intercept is 3. That's where the b is. That's my final answer. That's all I got to do. Next one, so it says write an equation of the line that passes through the point to negative 1 and the slope. So you can do this probably a couple different ways, but we talked about point slope equation. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. I would probably have that memorized. Slope is 5. That's where m goes. This is my x1. This is my y1. So I get y minus a negative 1 equals 5 times x minus 2. Remember, this becomes a positive. It says write an equation. We can leave it like that. If they ask for a slope intercept, we could do more to it. They didn't ask that. Just ask for an equation. So let's leave it. Okay. Next one that we have right here says write an equation with this, with a line parallel. So remember, parallel. What's the biggest thing that we need to know? Parallel has the same slope. So parallel lines equals the same slope that we have right here. Slope. So again, if the slope right here is really a 1 in front, the slope of the other line has to be a negative 1. And you have this point, which is negative 3, 5. So again, what are we going to do? Well, again, we have our slope, point slope formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We're just plugging these three things in. We're going to get y minus 5 equals negative 1 times x minus 8 negative 3. Remember, a double negative becomes a positive. It asks for just an equation, so let's leave it just like that. Next one, perpendicular line. Remember, perpendicular lines' slopes are the opposite reciprocal. Opposite reciprocal. Okay? Which means that if I have this, the slope of the other line is going to be the opposite. Instead of a positive, it now becomes a negative. Instead of a 3 over 1, it now becomes a 1 over 3. And we have this other point, which is 3, 4. We're again going to put this into my point slope. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we get y minus 4 equals negative 1/3 x minus 3. And again, just ask for an equation. You can leave it just like that. Didn't ask for it in slope intercept. So keep it. Awesome. Keep going. Alright, so next says, what is the slope of the line? Easy. That's the number in front of x, which is 4/3. It is not 4/3 x, it's the number in front of x, so it's 4/3. What is the slope of the line parallel? Well, the slope has to be the same, so it's got to be 4/3. What is the slope perpendicular? Well, it's got to be the opposite, so instead of a positive, it's a negative, and the reciprocal, which means I flip that fraction upside down. Okay, it says the slopes the two lines are given. Are the two slopes parallel, perpendicular, or neither? This one, it looks like I took the reciprocal, but they are not the opposite. If one's positive, the other one needs to be negative. They're not, so I write neither, or neither. Tomato, tomato. The next one, we have 6, negative 1, 6. A positive, a negative. We have 6 over 1, which becomes 1 over 6, which means that these right here are perpendicular because they are the opposite reciprocal. Alright, here we go. So we got to figure out, are these perpendicular? Well, to find out if they're perpendicular, I need to know the slopes. And to figure out the slopes, I need to know what they are, which I need to know the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? So for A, the slope of A is going to be a negative 2 minus 4 over 2 minus 8, negative 3, which is going to give me, that becomes a positive, which is going to give me negative 6 over 5. On C, though, we're going to get 2 minus 8, negative 3 over an 8 minus a 2, which is going to give me, that becomes a positive, it's going to give me 5 over 6. And if I'm looking, this is negative 6 over 5, this is positive 5 over 6. That one's a negative, that's a positive. It looks like we flipped it over. We say yes, these are perpendicular that you have right there because they have the opposite reciprocal. Next one, are the lines perpendicular? Well, that has a slope of 5. That has a slope of 1, 5. That looks like the reciprocal, but remember, they're not opposite. They're both positive. One needs to be positive, the other one needs to be negative. So we would say, no, they are not. Next one, are they perpendicular? Well, again, they're in standard form. I need to see what they are in slope-intercept. So we need to rearrange this. So I'm going to subtract 4x to both sides. This is going to give me 3y equals negative 4x minus 2. Divide by 3, and we get y equals negative 4/3 x minus, and again, this y-intercept doesn't really bother me. I'm really just looking at that, the slope on this problem. But on the other one, I need to do the same thing. I'm subtracting 8y to both sides, so I get 6x equals negative 8y plus 7. Then I'm dividing by a negative 6 that we have right here, and I get y equals 8 over 6, and again, the y-intercept does not matter on this case, over 6. There's x. Well, I need to simplify this fraction, and 2 goes in the top and bottom, which is going to give me a 4 over 3. Okay, one is a negative, one's a positive, that's good, that's opposite, but they are not the reciprocal, so it needs to be opposite reciprocal. It's not, so I say no, they are not perpendicular. Alright, to graph, what we need to do is we need to start with the y-intercept, which is 3, which I go up 3, 1, 2, 3. I make a dot that you have right here. My slope is negative 1 over 2. Remember, we need to do the rise over the run. So if I have a negative 1 over 2, it doesn't matter where you put that negative, but if I do there, I go down 1, I go left 2, and I make a dot. If you do this, 1 over a negative 2, which means I go up 1, I go left 2, they're all on that same line that looks like that. Okay, this one I need to rearrange it so it gets in slope-intercept form. So I subtract 3x to both sides. I get negative 2y equals negative 3x plus 6. Divide both sides by a negative 2, and I get y equals 3 over 2x minus 3. So I go start with the y-intercept, 1, 2, 3, and I have a slope of 3 over 2. Up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 2, 1, 2, right there. I have at least 2 points, Draw a line looking like that. Okay. All right. Keep it going. Next, we have this triangle looking thing, and we know a triangle here. The three angles to a triangle equal 180 degrees. So we know that 60 plus 70 is 130. So I know I have angle 3. I'm trying to find that. Angle 3 equals 60 plus 70 equals 130, which means that when I add this, subtract it over, I'm going to get, this is going to be 50 degrees. Okay. It also told me that these are parallel, which means that if this is 50, this has to also be 50 because they are alternate interior angles. The same thing with 60 and this one. Those are alternate interior angles. That needs to be 60 degrees. And if I have this, and we're trying to find out what this is. If I have this triangle up here, this is going to be 50 degrees because they are vertical angles. And then I'm trying to figure out what the other one is. Well, if I'm figuring out the big angle, angle 5, I see I have this triangle that looks like this. Here's 90, here's 50 because it's down here, which means that this one, if you have angle 5, is going to equal 50 plus 90 equals 180. You're going to take 180 minus 140, means that angle 5 is going to be 40 degrees. Put it over here, make it a little easier. So if this angle 5 is 40, and we said this one was 50, that's 90 that we have right here. It means that this one right here has to be 90 degrees. And now that I know that that angle right there is 90, and angle 4 is supplementary with it, it means that what other number can combine to equal 180? That means that that one has to be 90 degrees as well. Alright, rolling through. 31 says if angle 6 is x and angle 8 is x minus 20 that we have right there, we need to figure out what x is. So what I would do is, I see, well, here's a triangle. If this is a 90 degree angle, and this is x, and this is x minus 20, I know that the three angles, x minus 20, and this 90 degrees, they have to add up to 180 degrees, which is going to give me 2x plus 70 equals 180, which is going to give me 2x equals 110. 110 divided by 2 means that x has to equal 55 that we have right here. Okay, I'm just going to kind of do it, write it down, but I'm going to erase it to give ourselves some more space. Next one says if 7 right here is x, and it wants to know 9 is 3x plus 20. Well, these are on the same side interior of parallel lines. Same side interior are always supplementary. So we get 3x, x plus 3x plus 20 equals 180. Subtract that over, I'm going to get 4x equals 160, which means that x right here is going to equal 40. Okay, make sure you have that written down. Next one, 33. 8 is 3x minus 8, and 7 is 2x plus 10. These right here are alternate interior angles, which are always congruent. So I get 2x plus 10 equals 3x minus 8. I'm going to get all my x's on one side by subtracting this, which is going to give me 1x. I add the 8 to that side, x equals 18 that you have right there. Okay, have it written down. Next one is 6 is 8x minus 9. 8x minus 9. 7 is 3x that you have right here. And we have to figure out what is that. So I'm going to clear this really quick because if I'm looking at this, these are same side interior angles. Same side interior angles have to add up to 180. Well, if that's 90, this one needs to be 90, which it means that this 6 and 7 have to also add up to 190 or add up to 90 degrees because they make a straight line. 90 plus 90 is 180, which means that 6 and 7 that you have right here on 34, add 8x minus 9, and when I add it with this 3x, it has to equal 90 degrees because if one side is 90, these other two need to add up to 90. So I'm going to get 11x equals 99, which means that x equals 9 that you have right there. Alright, next one says, if parallel lines are cut by a transversal, which one is not necessarily true? Each pair of alternate interior angles are congruent. That is always true, so it can't be that one. Corresponding angles are congruent. That is always true. Not going to be that one. Each pair of same side interior angles are congruent. Maybe. D, each pair of alternate exterior angles are always congruent. That is always true. This one right here is not necessarily true. Because remember, we have parallel lines that you have right here. Let's say we draw it like this, cut by transversal. These two right here need to add up to 180 degrees. But it says they are congruent. This is possible. If one is 90 degrees and the other one is 90 degrees, then they both 90 plus 90 equals 180. But that's not always the case though. There are examples, lots of examples, where we have parallel lines cut by a transversal and these two are not the same degree. So you got to make sure they can sometimes be congruent, but they're not necessarily always true. Two left that we have right here. So crazy picture that we have right here. It says we know these lines are parallel, the opposite sides are parallel. So if this is 20, I know off the bat that this is 20 because alternate interior angles are always congruent. So I got 4. Boom. It tells me A, B, and C have to add up to 120 degrees. Angle A, B, C. So if this is 34, and these have to add up to 120, if I take 120, show you off to the side, minus 34, 120 minus 34 means that angle 1 right here has to be 86. This is 86. Alright, next one that we have right here, let's find out what this angle is right here. It didn't tell me, but if I know that these are a triangle has to add up to 180 degrees. If I have 34 and I have 20, I know that that angle right there is going to equal 126. So this is 126, which means that this angle right here would be supplementary with it because they make a straight line, which means that 180 minus 126 means that this is 54. Alright, why did I just find that? Because here's a triangle as well, and a triangle has to add up to 180 degrees. So 86 plus 54 is 140, and they have to add up to 180 degrees, which means that this one has to be 40 degrees. Angle 5, 40 degrees. Let's do the same thing that we have right here. If these are alternate interior angles, angle 3 right here has to equal 86. It's the same that you have right here. And again, angle 2, alternate interior angles. If this is 40, this one has to be 40, which means we have 40 degrees. Last problem, yay! And it didn't look really great because we have X, Y are right there. It looks like we have, I think this should have been extended as well. So you have to know this here. This is what we call an exterior angle. Exterior angle is the same as the sum of the two remote interior angles, which means that X plus 55 is going to equal 135. which means that x right here, when I subtract 55 to both sides, x is going to equal 80. So I have x is 80. If this is 80 right here, and these right here add up, they make a straight line right here. Straight line is 180 degrees. If x is 80, y right here has to be 100 because they are supplementary. Okay? Awesome. Cool. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had as much fun as I did. Good luck on the test. You guys are going to do great. See you soon.